Once upon a time, nestled between rolling hills and sparkling rivers, lay a village surrounded by an enchanted forest. The villagers lived simple lives, their days filled with farming, fishing, and storytelling around crackling fires. The forest, with its ancient trees and hidden glades, had always been a source of wonder and a bit of mystery for the villagers. It was a place where sunlight dripped through the leaves like liquid gold, and where the whispers of the wind carried secrets only the trees could understand. Among those villagers was a young girl named Ilara. Her days were spent helping her mother in the bakery, where the air was thick with the scent of yeast and sugar, and her evenings were filled with listening to her grandmother's tales of the mystical forest and its magic. One day, a shadow fell over the village. A strange stillness settled over the forest, and the cheerful birdsong was replaced by an eerie silence. The trees, once so vibrant, stood bare and withered. Even the river seemed to mourn, its waters stagnant and dark. Fear gripped the villagers. Without the protective embrace of the forest, they felt exposed and vulnerable. Old Man Hemlock, his face etched with worry, addressed the villagers. "The heart of the forest is dying," he said, his voice heavy with concern. "And with it, our protection from the shadow realm is fading. If we don't act fast, the shadow blight will consume our village." The shadow blight, a force of darkness, was an ancient evil that slumbered beyond the forest's edge. The forest, with its living heart, had kept it at bay for generations. But now, with the heart fading, the blight was stirring. Elara's grandmother, her eyes filled with determination, stepped forward. "The forest has always provided for us. Now is the time for us to return the favor. We must journey to the forest's core and help the living heart. Whoever volunteers for this quest will be rewarded with eternal gratitude from the forest and the village." A heavy silence fell over the crowd. The task was perilous, and many doubted they'd see their loved ones return. Yet Elara's hand shot up, her eyes shining with resolve. Despite her young age, she had a spirit that refused to bend. Her mother gasped, her voice trembling. "Elara, my dear, it's too dangerous. You can't possibly." "But Mama," Elara interrupted, "if we don't try, our village will be lost. Besides," she added with a wink, "who better to save the forest than the granddaughter of the storyteller?" Touched by her spirit, Old Man Hemlock smiled. "Very well, Elara, you have found yourself a quest, but you cannot do this alone. You must find allies, companions whose strengths complement your own." So began Elara's adventure. She journeyed to the Whisperwood, a part of the forest known for its ancient oaks and its dryads, tree spirits of immense wisdom. But the dryads, usually so lively, were listless and frail. Their leaves, once lush and green, were turning brown and brittle. "The heart of the forest is our sister," one of the dryads whispered, her voice as rustling leaves. "If she fades, we fade with her." "Then let me help you," Elara offered, her voice ringing with determination. She sat at the base of the oldest oak, closing her eyes and reaching out her hand. She could feel the dryads' sadness, their fear, and most of all, their loneliness. And in that moment, a bond formed. The Dryad, sensing Elara's pure heart, chose her as the vessel for their combined strength. As the last rays of sunlight filtered through the canopy, Elara felt a surge of power. The Dryads, drawing upon her youthful energy, rejuvenated. Their leaves unfurled, their branches reaching towards the sky. They gifted her with a cloak woven from moonlight and leaves, granting her the ability to speak with the forest. Then, with a final whisper of gratitude, they vanished into the wood. With her new allies by her side, Elara pressed on. The path was fraught with peril. Thorny bushes tore at her cloak, trying to sever the connection to the Dryads. But Elara held firm, her determination unwavering. She braved tangled undergrowth and perilous paths until finally the trees began to thin. Before her lay a vast, shadowy expanse where the soil was cracked and lifeless. The air grew colder, and the sounds of the forest faded to a distant memory. The closer she got to the forest's heart, the more she felt its pain, its fear, and its desperate plea for help. And then she saw it, a massive oak at the forest's core, its branches gnarled and withered, its leaves long gone. This was the heart of the forest. As Elara approached, a chilling laughter echoed through the silent woods. "So you have come," a voice rasped. Emerging from behind the oak was a skeletal figure cloaked in shadows, tendrils of darkness snaking around its form. This was the Shade, a servant of the shadow blight, and it fed on the forest's despair. "Why have you come here?" the Shade hissed, its voice like crumbling stone. "Leave while you still can. The blight shall consume all, and there will be nothing left to save." "I've come to help," Elara said, her voice ringing with conviction. "I won't let you harm the forest." The Shade sneered, its shadowy form coiling like a hungry serpent ready to strike. "Foolish child, you are too late. The heart is almost gone. The forest will fall, and then I will feast on its despair." The Shade lunged, tendrils of darkness lashing out. But Elara, drawing on the strength of the Dryads, raised her hands. "I may be young," she cried, "but I will not stand by and watch you destroy everything." A surge of emerald light erupted from her hands, pushing back the darkness. The Shade recoiled, hissing in pain. As Elara held her ground, the forest stirred. Animals emerged from their hiding places, drawn by Elara's courage and the promise of hope. Squirrels chattered encouragement, rabbits thumped their feet, and birds sang songs of valor. Their combined faith and belief in Elara bolstered her strength, forming a protective shield around her. And then something magical happened. The forest itself responded. Roots snaked out, binding the Shade's tendrils. Leaves swirled, forming a protective barrier. The very essence of the forest rallied to Elara's aid. Overwhelmed by the sudden surge of power, the Shade screamed in rage and frustration. Its form flickered, its hold on reality weakening. Seeing their chance, Elara and the animals pressed their attack. Elara, with a final surge of magic, severed the last of the Shade's connection to the blight. The forest heart, sensing its enemy's demise, pulsed with renewed vigor. Light flooded the forest floor, chasing away the darkness. The shade, its form flickering, vanished into the ether, defeated as the first rays of sunlight touched the forest floor. The animals cheered. The forest, its heart restored, throbbed with life. Leaves unfurled, flowers bloomed, and the trees rustled in appreciation. Elara, exhausted but triumphant, collapsed against the forest heart, the ancient oak. From that day forward, Elara was known throughout the land as the guardian of the forest. Her name whispered with reverence by the trees and echoed in the songs of the birds. And so the village prospered, safe within their enchanted woods, forever protected by the courage of a young girl who dared to dream, to believe, and to act. For Elara understood that sometimes the greatest magic lay not in ancient spells, but in the unwavering spirit of hope and courage.